You know those days when everything feels way too heavy? Life sometimes throws us into situations so tough that the only question that comes to mind is, how am I going to get through this? We all have moments like that, one way or another. And it's in those moments that we find out what we're really capable of. This story begins in a peaceful place, where the sky seemed endless and green fields stretched out like a soft carpet. A farmer lived there. He wasn't rich or famous, just a simple man who had spent his whole life working the land. But despite all the hardships, he was grateful for what he had. The farmer had a loyal companion, a donkey. This donkey wasn't just a work animal, he was so much more than that. For years, the two had faced the ups and downs of farm life together. On the good days, the donkey was there, steadfast, helping with the harvest. And on the hard days, he was still there, his silent presence seeming to say it's going to be okay. As time went on, the donkey grew old. His steps became slower, his eyes more tired. He no longer had the strength he once did, but the farmer never stopped taking care of him. To the farmer, that donkey was family. Someone who, even without words, had taught him many lessons about loyalty, patience, and perseverance. So, the farmer decided it was time to give back. He let the donkey roam freely in the fields, so he could enjoy his final days in peace. No heavy loads, no rushing around, just the breeze in his face and the taste of fresh grass. "You've done so much for me," the farmer would say, watching the donkey from afar. "Now it's your turn to rest." It was such a simple moment, but full of meaning. Deep down, the farmer knew the donkey didn't have much time left. He didn't say it out loud, but he could feel it in his heart. And even so, instead of dwelling on sadness, he chose gratitude. He chose to cherish every moment he still had with his old friend. Life on the farm carried on. Days passed, and the donkey enjoyed his freedom with a quiet calm, as if he understood how precious each moment was. But fate, as it often does, had something unexpected in store. Something that would change everything in an instant. Because life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. Sometimes with joy, sometimes with challenges. And it's in those unexpected moments that the true strength of the heart shines through. It was a quiet late afternoon. The sun was beginning to sink behind the mountains, casting golden and orange hues across the sky. The donkey, as usual, wandered through the field, enjoying his freedom. He wasn't in a rush, he simply walked, feeling the grass under his hooves and the gentle breeze rustling his ears. But life, with all its mysteries, loves to catch us off guard. And that's exactly what happened that day. While exploring a part of the field where the vegetation grew taller, the donkey didn't notice something hidden beneath the overgrowth, an old, abandoned well. It had been out of use for years, covered by leaves and branches, almost impossible to see. With one more step, the ground disappeared beneath him. One moment he was strolling freely, and the next, he was falling. The sound of his fall echoed deep inside the well, only to be replaced by an eerie silence. The donkey lay there in the dark, trying to make sense of what had just happened. He was hurt, tired, and scared. He tried calling for help, but all he could hear was the echo of his own voice. It felt like the world outside had vanished. Meanwhile, the farmer was making his way back home. He glanced toward the horizon, expecting to see the donkey roaming the fields as he always did. But that day, the donkey was nowhere to be seen. "That's strange," the farmer thought. "He's never out this late." A sense of unease began to creep in. The farmer dropped everything he was doing and started searching. He called out for the donkey, walking back and forth across the fields, but there was no sign of him. Night fell, bringing with it the cold and silence. Despite the darkness, the farmer didn't stop. Deep down, he knew something was wrong. As the farmer searched, the donkey remained trapped at the bottom of the well. He was exhausted, but he refused to give up. Every time he heard a sound in the distance, maybe the rustling of leaves or the cry of a bird, he would call out again, as if he knew someone was still out there, even in the overwhelming darkness. The night dragged on, and the farmer's worry grew heavier with each passing hour. Just as dawn was breaking, he heard something faint in the distance. A sound that made his heart race. It was the donkey. Weak but still fighting, he was braying from the bottom of the well. Without a second thought, the farmer sprinted toward the sound, and when he arrived, his heart nearly stopped. There, at the bottom of the well, was the donkey, trapped. His tired eyes still shimmered with a glimmer of hope, but his body was clearly worn out. The farmer dropped to his knees at the edge of the well, tears welling up in his eyes. "I'm going to get you out of there," he promised. "You're not alone." The farmer wasted no time. He knew every second mattered. With his heart racing and hands trembling, he ran to get help. He went door to door in the nearby village, calling out to his neighbors, explaining the situation quickly. "My donkey fell into a well. He's trapped. I need your help." Without hesitation, they followed him. Everyone knew how much that donkey meant to the farmer. He wasn't just a work animal, he was a loyal friend. Before long, a small crowd had gathered around the well. The scene was heartbreaking. Down at the bottom, the donkey was moving slowly, his body curled with exhaustion, but his eyes still held the same message as always: "I'm not giving up." The men began brainstorming solutions. They tied ropes, improvised a kind of harness, tried using ladders, but the well was narrow, and the donkey, old and heavy, resisted any attempt to pull him up. Each time they tried to lift him, he brayed in pain or flinched in fear, making the situation even more distressing. The farmer was beside himself. He paced back and forth, as if searching for answers in the wind. "It can't end like this," he muttered to himself. "He deserves more. He's always been there for me. I have to do something." But as the hours passed, hope began to wane. The donkey had stopped moving. It was as if he had finally surrendered, too tired to keep fighting. The neighbors started looking at the farmer with sympathetic eyes, searching for the right words to comfort him, though none of them could find any. Then someone hesitated before speaking. "Maybe it's better to let the donkey rest. We've tried everything. He's suffering, and maybe this is the most compassionate thing we can do." Those words hit the farmer like a punch to the chest. He knew the others were only trying to help him accept the inevitable, but giving up wasn't something he could fathom. He looked down at the donkey again, and something inside him broke. Tears streamed down his face as he knelt by the edge of the well, drained of strength. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I wish I could do more." That's when another neighbor offered a different suggestion. "If we can't get him out, maybe we can at least fill in the well. That way, it won't be a danger to others. It's hard, but it might be the only thing we can do." The farmer hesitated. He looked at the donkey again, so frail and still, and felt an unbearable ache in his chest. But after a moment of agonized reflection, he nodded. There didn't seem to be any other choice, or at least, that's what everyone thought. And so, they began. Little by little, the neighbors started shoveling dirt into the well. At first, the donkey panicked. He felt the dirt falling onto his back and brayed, shaking himself and trying to make sense of what was happening. But then, something unexpected happened. The donkey began to shake the dirt off. Every time a new layer of dirt fell, he'd shake it loose and let it pile beneath him. It was as if, instinctively, he had made a decision: this would not be his grave. He wasn't going to be buried. Not today. With every shovelful of dirt, everyone thought they were giving the donkey a dignified end. But what none of them expected was that, despite his exhaustion and old age, this animal wasn't ready to give up. Deep down in that well, something extraordinary began to unfold. When the first bit of dirt landed on his back, the donkey panicked. He brayed, shook himself, and tried to escape what he thought was yet another cruel twist of fate. But as he shook his body, the dirt fell to the ground around him, building up beneath his feet. And that's when something shifted. As if realizing something instinctively, the donkey started behaving differently. Every time more dirt fell, he shook it off and took a small step upward. At first, it was barely noticeable, but little by little, he began to turn what seemed like his burial into his way out. The well, which had seemed so deep and terrifying, started to become less impossible with every new layer of dirt. The neighbors continued shoveling, so focused on their task that they didn't notice what was happening below. To them, it was just the sound of dirt falling and the occasional bray of the donkey. But the farmer, whose eyes had never left the bottom of the well, saw something. "What's he doing?" he murmured, almost to himself. He leaned closer, squinting into the depths. And then he saw it: the donkey was rising, little by little. Every time the dirt fell, he was using it to push himself higher. For a moment, the farmer was frozen in place. Then, with a burst of hope, he shouted, "Stop throwing so much at once. He's climbing out." The neighbors paused, confused. "Climbing? What do you mean? See for yourselves," the farmer exclaimed, pointing into the well. Curious and skeptical, the neighbors leaned over and were stunned by what they saw. The donkey was higher than before. He wasn't the defeated, helpless animal they'd seen just minutes ago. His movements were purposeful now, his hooves pressing down firmly on the dirt beneath him. His eyes, once clouded with exhaustion, now shone with determination. Though clearly tired, he wasn't giving up. From that moment on, the atmosphere around the well shifted. The sadness and resignation that had weighed on everyone was replaced with a surge of encouragement. As they shoveled more dirt, they began cheering him on. "That's it, buddy, keep going. You've got this." And the donkey kept going. Step by step, shake after shake, he rose higher and higher. It wasn't fast, but it was steady. And the more dirt that fell, the closer he got to the top. The farmer stood by, tears welling in his eyes. It wasn't just a miracle, it was a lesson playing out right in front of him. He didn't give up, the farmer thought. Even when it seemed like there was no way out, he found one. The donkey was visibly exhausted. His movements were slow, deliberate, but he refused to stop. With every shake of dirt off his back, every small step upward, he showed his unwavering determination. He didn't know how, but he was climbing. The neighbors, who once believed this was the end, now watched in awe. It was as if the donkey was teaching them a lesson that no words could ever convey. And the farmer, he couldn't take his eyes off his old friend. It was like witnessing a miracle unfold right in front of him. Bit by bit, the level of dirt in the well rose. With every layer added, the donkey got closer to the edge. The tension in the air grew as everyone watched, holding their breath. Could it really happen? Could he actually make it out? Just a little more. Come on, buddy. The farmer shouted, his voice filled with hope. He had never seen such willpower before. Down below, the donkey kept going. Despite his aching body and his heart pounding in his chest, he took one step at a time, shaking off the dirt, steadying his hooves, and climbing higher. At last, after what felt like endless hours of effort, the impossible happened. The donkey reached the edge. His head, with ears drooping from exhaustion, appeared first, followed by his tired body. With one final push, he scrambled out of the well, stumbling onto the ground and collapsing on his side, utterly spent but finally free. For a moment, silence fell over the group. No one knew what to say. They simply stood there, staring at the donkey, who lay on the grass, breathing heavily. The farmer was the first to move. He rushed to his old friend, dropped to his knees beside him, and wrapped him in a tight embrace. "You did it," the farmer said, his voice thick with emotion. "You never gave up, no matter how hard it got. I'm so proud of you." The neighbors broke into applause. It was as if the donkey had won a battle they all thought was lost. And in a way, he had. This wasn't just a physical victory, it was a triumph of courage, determination, and resilience. As the donkey rested, lying under the open sky, the farmer couldn't hold back his tears. He knew that what had happened wasn't just a lesson for him but for everyone who had witnessed it. Because if a simple donkey could find the strength to turn what seemed like the end into a second chance at life, what could humans achieve with the power of hope? In that moment, something shifted in the farmer's heart. He realized that even in the hardest times, when everything feels lost, there's always a way forward. Sometimes, the way out is in the least expected place. And sometimes, we need to be like the donkey, shake the dirt off our backs and use what seems to bury us as a stepping stone to rise. When the donkey finally freed himself, it wasn't just him who emerged transformed from that well. Everyone who witnessed that moment walked away with something much bigger for their lives. This wasn't just the story of an animal surviving an almost impossible situation, it was a powerful reminder of the strength that lies within all of us, even in our darkest moments. The farmer, still overwhelmed with emotion, sat next to his old friend, who was now resting. He ran his hand over the donkey's worn coat and looked at the neighbors gathered around. There was something in the air, a reflective silence, as though everyone was absorbing the deeper meaning of what had just happened. "Did you see what he did?" the farmer asked, his voice breaking. He didn't give up. With every shovelful of dirt, he could have accepted the end. But instead, he chose to shake it off and use it to climb higher. If a donkey can do that, what could we achieve when life tries to bury us? The neighbors murmured in agreement. One of them said, "That's true. How many times do we feel like we can't make it? Like the weight is too much? But maybe we just need to look at our challenges differently." The farmer smiled. He knew this experience had changed something within him. Throughout his life, he had faced countless hardships, droughts, losses, days when he thought he wouldn't have the strength to carry on. But there, beside his old friend, he realized that many solutions to life's problems were hidden in something as simple as how we choose to respond. And this wasn't just the donkey's story. It was all of ours. Who hasn't felt like they were at the bottom of a well? Who hasn't looked up and thought the walls were too high, the light too far away? In those moments, it's easy to lose hope. But this story teaches us that, even when it feels like there's no way out, there's always a choice. Because the well doesn't define you. What defines you is what you do when the dirt starts falling. You can choose to let yourself be buried, or you can shake off the dirt and use every handful as a step toward freedom. In the end, life isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about how we face them. It's about pushing forward, even when we're exhausted. It's about finding strength within ourselves, even when we feel like we have nothing left to give. It's about faith in God, in ourselves, in the process. Faith that, no matter how dark the moment seems, the light is always there, waiting for us. And maybe you're feeling that way right now, like you're at the bottom of a well, too tired to climb out. If that's the case, I want you to remember the donkey. Remember that every problem life throws your way can be the very thing you use to rise, step by step. And if you can't see the end just yet, that's okay. Just don't give up. Keep shaking off the dirt. Keep climbing. Because the way out is up there. The farmer and his donkey stayed together after that day. Every time the farmer looked at him, he felt a mix of gratitude and inspiration. Life carried on, with its ups and downs, but he never saw challenges the same way again. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment like this? A time when it felt like there was no way out, but something inside you told you to keep going? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could be exactly what someone else needs to hear to shake off their own dirt and rise. And if this reflection touched your heart, don't forget to leave a like and share this video with someone who needs this message. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our faith-filled, motivational stories. Remember, together we can spread hope and strength to those who need it most. Let's keep growing and learning, one step at a time. See you in the next video, and may God bless your journey.